Good morning children. Welcome back to the session Diversity in Living Organisms Part 2. In previous class we have studied about the hierarchy of organisms. Hierarchy of organism look like a staircase. Let us discuss species, genus, family, order, class, phylum, kingdom, domain. This is called hierarchical order. Based on this order, animals are placed in different kingdom, phylum, class, order, family and genus and species. So when you look this hierarchical order, when you look the domain or kingdom, at a higher level, there are many organisms, many differences, less similarities. The organisms in the domain or in the kingdom, they are more in number, but they have lot of differences. The differences will be, there are lot of differences between different animals. For example, you take tiger, human beings, all come under animal kingdom. There is a difference between animals and human beings, and the similarities are very less, and many differences, less similarities. Now when we talk about the lower organisms like species and genus, these species and genus, they are more similar, less difference. Genus or species, the members of genus and species, they are more similar to each other, each other. For example, you take the genus of chimpanzees, gorillas, human being, we are all come under same genus, but we have very more similarities are there, like we are bipedals and we have pentadactyl palms, means 5 fingers, and these differences are, these are the similarities and very less differences. When we move from species to domain or kingdom, the differences increases. The difference in the organism increases from species, genus, family, order, class, phylum, kingdom, domain. And whereas similarities decreases. There are more similar in species, very less similar in genus, still less similar in family. Like that, differences, similarities will decrease when we go from down to top, whereas differences increases when we move from down to top. And for example, Aristotle differentiated organisms or classified organisms into movable, immovable. These movable and immovable organisms, he named them as kingdoms. This is plant kingdom. The animals which move, cannot move, we call them as animal kingdom. The animals that move, we call them as plant kingdom. And based on their skeletons, animals are again grouped into phylums. See, for example, mosquitoes, cockroaches and all, they die, they decompose, but we cannot see their skeleton. Human beings, monkeys, chimpanzees, when they die, they decompose and we can see the skeletal system. Based on their skeletal system, animals are grouped into phylum. Then similar phylums are grouped into a class. Similar phylums with common characteristics, we call them as class. Similar characteristics are grouped to order. Order is grouped to family. Group of families form genus and group of genus form species. See, for example, you take a family, cat family, dog family, tiger, lion, cat, all come under cat family. Fox, dog, hyena come under dog family. And when we talk with the reproductive structures, the reproductive structures of tiger and lion are similar, but cat is different. So cat forms another genus. Now taking to the species. Species means organisms which are similar in structure, which can reproduce among themselves. Even though lion and tiger belongs to same family, they cannot breed each other. Their reproductive structure is different. Lion can breed with a female lion and dog can breed with a female dog. So that's why species means having same reproductive similar characteristics which can interbreed with each other. This is called hierarchical order or hierarchy or hierarchical order. Species is the fundamental unit of classification. Every organism starts with a species. Species is the fundamental unit of hierarchical order. Species, genus, family, order, class, phylum, kingdom, domain. Okay, now we go back to the kingdom. First, let us discuss. I already said there are 2 kingdoms, plant kingdom and animal kingdom. Today let us discuss about plant kingdom. The plant kingdom is called plantae. All plants come under plant kingdom, and this plant kingdom is classified based on three characteristic features: differentiation, tissue differentiation, mode of reproduction. Differentiation. We have seen the diversity in plants. We come across different wide varieties of plants in plantae kingdom. And these plantae or plants are classified first based on the differentiation. The plants are differentiated into roots, stems, leaves, flowers. All the plants which possess all the distinct character are placed in one category, and the plants without distinct character are placed in another category. For example, you take, have you observed children a green carpet like patches on the rocks? Those carpet green patches on the rocks are called nothing but moss plants. We call them as moss plants. These plants are very simple in structure, without a definite roots, leaves, flowers. They do not possess any flowers. And these plants, they reproduce by specialized structures called spores. They don't have flowers, they don't have seeds. They reproduce through spores. And spores are present in a very specialized reproductive structures called sporangia, and sporangia produce spores, and spores are the reproductive unit. When the spores are fall on the suitable substratum, they germinate into new moss plant. Another lower plant is fern plants. These fern plants also do not produce any distinct roots or leaves. They have distinct root or stem, but they have leaves. On the back side of the leaves, there are dark brown color structures called sporangia. Sporangia produce spores and reproduce through spores. All these plants which do not possess true root system or leaves, which do not reproduce through flowers, we call them as cryptogams. What we call them? Cryptogams. Based on the flowers and non-flowering plants, and based on the flowers, plants are divided into cryptogams and phanerogams. Cryptogams are called non-flowering plants, and phanerogams are called flowering plants. You have seen in the nature some plants produce flowers, some plants do not produce flowers. The cryptogams examples are fern and moss plants are examples of cryptogams. And these cryptogams further divided into bryophyta and pteridophyta. Bryophyta also do not have any distinct parts, and they do not produce flowers. They reproduce through spores, and they do not have any true root system. And moss comes under bryophyta. Moss plant come under bryophyta. Now going to the pteridophyta. Pteridophyta has certain true roots and they have some leaves, and they also reproduce through spores or sporangia. Fern come under pteridophyta. Cryptogams are divided into bryophyta, pteridophyta. Bryophyta do not have any distinct parts, no true roots, whereas pteridophyta have some small roots, small stem and small leaves with the true roots. They have true roots. Based on the roots, they are divided into bryophyta and pteridophyta. Now coming to the flowering plants. Flowering plants are called as phanerogams. These flowering plants, based on their seeds, they are again divided into angiosperms and gymnosperms. Angiosperms means the seeds are enclosed in a fruit. Example, mango, bean, neem, all such things come under angiosperms. Angiosperms means the plant which possess seeds in their fruits. Such plants, example, so many you can say. Mango, the best example of angiosperms. Now, based on the seeds, there are certain plants which do not possess seeds inside the fruits. Seeds are naked. These seeds are produced in a very specialized structures called cones. Cones, they contain male cones and female cones, and they produce seeds, and they have naked seeds. Seeds are not enclosed inside the fruit. Seeds are situated on very specialized reproductive structures called cones. The best example for in gymnosperms are pinus plant, which reproduce through cones. Now coming to the angiosperms. Angiosperms are again divided into two types, monocots and dicots, based on their cotyledons. See, when you soak the seeds, when you can break the seeds into two equal halves, those two equal halves, we call them as cotyledons. You take a Bengal gram seeds, when you soak them and we are able to break them into two equal halves. Those two equal halves we call them as cotyledons. What we call them? Cotyledons or seed leaves. Cotyledons or seed leaves. We call them as seed leaves. Monocots consist of only one cotyledon. One mono means one. The seeds with one cotyledons we call them as monocots. The seeds with two cotyledons we call them as dicots. Monocots, the best example, all the grass family, maize, zoar, paddy, all these we call them as monocots. They have only one cotyledons. Children, will do activity based on the monocots and dicots when the school reopens in the lab. When we do the activity, you can better understand about the monocots and dicots. And dicots means the seeds which have two cotyledons, we call them as dicots. Bean, mango, and all the pulses come under dicots. Monocots, dicots. Thank you, children, for today's class. Tomorrow we meet in animal kingdom.